Lessons for a storm-tossed world. The Odyssey offers advice for navigating the ups and downs of 2026, says Catherine Nixie. He is back. In 2026, Odysseus the Wanderer returns, though this time arriving in cinema rather than by ship, when Christopher Nolan's version of Homer's The Odyssey opens in July. The film promises everything you would expect from a Hollywood epic. There will be moody-looking panning shots. There will be moody-looking people saying things in short, manly sentences. There will be moody-looking people in short, not-so-manly Greek skirts. There will also, more surprisingly, be lessons for those navigating the ups and downs of 2026. People remember the Odyssey as a story about sailing and sea monsters. This is nonsense. It is a parable for the modern age, a handy reminder of the timeless nature of many of the challenges the world faces today. Odysseus's journey across the Mediterranean offers lessons on such things as war, mass migration, and the importance of taking earplugs with you when you travel. At one point, a nearby group emits such loud music that the hero must be lashed to the mast of his ship or plug his ears with wax, lest he lose his mind. Who has not felt the same on public transport? Bronze Age Greece is, clearly, not the modern era. But there are parallels. Odysseus lives in a world transformed. Once peaceful lands have been beset by war, mass migration, and scary new technology, such as Trojan horses. Odysseus, says Daniel Mendelsohn, translator of a recent edition of his story, is a post-dash sort of hero. Post-war, post-truth, and living in a world where the old certainties have died. In short, he is the perfect storm-tossed hero for storm-tossed times. That is not to say he is actually perfect. Far from it. Odysseus, who is now easily over 40, seems to be having something of a midlife crisis. He receives skin rejuvenation treatments, works on his muscles, grows his hair, and, a sure sign of middle-age angst, goes on a consciousness-altering retreat. There, he microdoses a plant-based drug called moly, watches his men turn into pigs, and, worse still, insists on telling everyone about it afterward, at great length. Psilocybin has similar effects. He is socially awkward too. After 10 years spent in the manosphere of the Trojan War, Odysseus struggles to talk to women. You look, he tells one beautiful girl, like the sprout of the date palm tree, an early example of negging that, quite rightly, gets him nowhere. He is also flawed from a literary standpoint. The Odyssey is not an original work but the lurid sequel to a more sober tale, the Iliad, making it the Deadpool and Wolverine of the ancient world. Odysseus, then, is that most modern of all things, problematic. But his problems are familiar and relatable. As the story opens, it is clear that his home island of Ithaca is suffering from a rampant inheritocracy and chronic shortages in housing supply. This does not at first affect Odysseus. Just like Brooklyn Beckham, son of David, Odysseus, son of Laertes, is a Nepo baby, with the patronymic and the huge house to prove it. Alas, such inequality is dangerous for society, as he soon finds out. When the poem begins, almost everyone on Ithaca seems to be living in Odysseus's house. The situation is eventually resolved by Odysseus stringing his bow and shooting everyone until they are lying in the dust and weltering in their blood. The lesson: earlier easing of building regulations and the introduction of a rules-based zoning system to encourage house building would have been a less drastic solution. The Odyssey is also, when read carefully, a management parable. Odysseus is the Peter principle personified. He was a fine fighter but has received no formal management training, and it shows. He has poor work-life balance, he brings his whole self to work, and he gets everyone who works for him killed, a failure he then neglects to address fully in his lengthy end-of-year performance review. He exemplifies the importance of providing adequate training for senior managers. But as in the modern age, his greatest problems stem from his own cleverness. Blessed with godlike intelligence, he brings destruction upon his world. He and his men cause climate change, harm native species, and rashly adopt bleeding-edge technology like the Trojan horse. The greatest tragedy is that Odysseus understands he has done badly and lets the bright molten tears run down his cheeks, a feeling familiar to anyone who has been following the news lately. Odysseus is, then, an imperfect hero. But he also offers hope. By the end of the story, he has learned from his mistakes. He has decided to cut back on travel and work from home a little more. The housing crisis has eased, he has been reunited with his wife, and his land is, finally, at peace. If he can do it, then perhaps there is hope for the world in 2026. Catherine Nixie, culture correspondent, The Economist.